Hey, Coach Colin Costello here with Shot Mechanics Basketball, and today we're going to teach you how to perfect your guide hand when you're shooting. All right, so the first thing we want to think about with the guide hand is that it's actually a guide, right? The biggest mistake that players make with their guide hand is they have too much interference from it. And if there's interference on your guide hand, it can a lot of times kind of change the flight of the basketball and add for an extra variable, which makes it hard to shoot. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about a bunch of different things we can do to minimize that offhand interference and some kind of keys to think about while we're doing it. All right, so the first thing you want to think about is as a shooter is you want to be a one-hand shooter. If I'm getting ready to shoot the basketball and I'm shooting with both hands and it turns into a push just like this, that's not good, right? Because it limits our range and it limits our accuracy quite a bit. Instead, we want to be a one-hand shooter. So if I'm a right-handed shooter, the majority of my shot needs to be coming from my right hand, and my left hand is just there to guide the basketball like we've talked about before. Now, there's a few different kind of areas in offhand interference that are going to hurt your shot quite a bit. And the first one is what we call thumbing, right? And this is kind of one of the biggest issues that we have with offhand interference. And thumbing is when you're getting ready to shoot the basketball, a player might rotate their offhand guide hand thumb forward to try to get that extra power and push the basketball forward. Now, there are some great shooters that thumb the basketball a little bit. Kyrie Irving comes to mind off the top of my head. But the issue is it takes a lot longer to get accurate because with that extra variable on your offhand thumb, it's going to either push the ball left or right a lot of the times. Now, this is something that we see a lot with younger shooters as well if they try to scoot back to the three-point line or further out. Because to be a one-hand shooter, you definitely need to optimize your lower body mechanics to be able to hit that power. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that our thumb's not pushing the basketball. That's a big one that's going to help you keep the ball a lot straighter, and straighter shots are better shots. All right, so when you're getting ready to release the basketball, you want to make sure that your offhand's nice and relaxed, right? Tension's never a good thing in shooting, and that goes for your offhand as well. So as you're getting ready to release the basketball and you're coming up, you don't want to be gripping the basketball with your guide hand really hard because that's going to create a lot of tension as the ball's coming out. Instead, you want a relaxed hand. And it's pretty interesting because there's a lot of studies of players actually becoming better shooters if they have an injury to their left hand. So take LaMarcus Aldridge, for instance. He broke his left hand, and he actually became a better shooter because while his hand was broken, he did a lot of form shooting, and it forced his hand to be relaxed and not have as much interference on the basketball. I had another kid that I played high school with who broke his left arm in high school, and he had to have a cast all the way from about his bicep all the way up through his about mid-hand, and he actually became the best shooter on the team because it forced him to become that one-handed shooter that he needed to be able to hit those shots, shooting everything straight. So offhand interference is really important to think about, and one of the biggest keys is having that relaxed offhand. So make sure as you're getting ready to shoot the basketball that you're not gripping the basketball necessarily with your guide hand. Instead, it's just more kind of there as a guide, right? Nice and loose. If I'm getting ready to snap, it's almost like my fingers are falling off before I snap my wrist on the shot. And that's the big key. A lot of people hold their guide hand too far on, and their fingers are still touching the ball on their guide hand when their wrist is already coming forward. Instead, if you can start to just drop it off right as your wrist snaps forward, that's going to be nice and relaxed, and it's going to be a lot easier to keep your shot straight on its way to the basket. All right, so there's really kind of two guide hand positions on the release that I personally like as a coach and as a shooter. Now, the first one's kind of your textbook shot, whereas you're getting ready to shoot and you release the basketball, your guide hand's staying pointing straight towards the ceiling. If you notice there, as I shoot, my top four fingers are pointing straight up to the ceiling and my thumb's facing backwards. Now that's kind of the tried and true original way that a lot of coaches will tell you to shoot, but there's actually another way that I prefer that I actually use and guys like Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving use as well, and that's to flex your wrist forward as you shoot. So a lot of those guys, as they shoot, they'll flex their wrist forward, so now their thumb's facing straight up towards the sky and their other four fingers are facing straight forward. Now, it really doesn't matter which one you use as long as you get the most kind of balance with the basketball and the latest you can guide the ball before your wrist snaps. So I kind of like flexing that wrist forward a little bit because it allows me to keep my guide hand on just that little split second extra longer before I snap my wrist down. So again, it's totally up to you. Just make sure your fingers are either up to the sky or facing forward. If they're facing backward, it's probably not what you want. So now the question is, what do you do if you do have a ton of offhand interference? Now you can do a lot of one-hand shooting drills and that sort of thing, but a great tool that I highly recommend that you've probably seen before is the Shoot Natural glove. And I'm friends with the guys over at the Shoot Natural, and they created this product to help you with that offhand interference. So it's really easy. All you gotta do is you just slide the glove on, boom, just like this onto your guide hand. And now we have kind of this offhand interference that we're not going to worry about. So it's great because you can still put down some dribbles with it, whatever drills you're doing, but it forces you to keep that offhand interference at a minimum. And what I like about it is it kind of makes it feel almost like your hand's numb. Like, well, it doesn't make you feel like your hand's numb, but it kind of has that same effect. Like, I can't really feel the basketball here, so it forces all my touch and all my feel into my shooting hand. So as I go up and shoot, really all this is using is now a guide. And because you can still flex your fingers here, you can still do kind of those extra little mechanics that you need to do when focusing on your jump shot. So I highly recommend the Shoot Natural, and I've got a link in the description. You can pick one up for yourself. And so pretty much, if any of my athletes have an offhand interference, I have them pick one of these up, and then we do it for a ton of warm-up stuff. So we'll shoot, two-handed form shooting, we'll shoot free throws, we'll shoot catch and shoot jumpers, and then once they get going with it, then we take the glove off, and generally it helps quite a bit. All right, so if you have offhand interference and you want to become a one-hand shooter, go ahead and pick one up at the link below, and that way it helps us out a little bit, it helps them out, and you're going to get a little bit of an extra discount too. All right, so now that we know what offhand interference is, what are some good drills that we can use to kind of, get that muscle memory down so you become that one-hand shooter that's going to be a lot more accurate? So the first drill I like to do is bounce up one-hand to two-hand form shooting. So all you're going to do is you're going to face the basket just like this. You're going to bounce the ball up above your head, and then you're going to catch with your shooting hand underneath the basketball. So you're going to bounce it up, catch with your hand underneath the basketball just like this. Then as you catch, you're going to smoothly go up into a two-handed form shot. So what I like about this is it forces you to work on controlling the basketball with one hand, and then smoothly bring it into your jumper, and then just using that guide hand just for a split second to guide the ball towards the hoop. So again, with the offhand, more is less, right? We don't want a ton of extra guidance. So with this drill, all you gotta do is bounce it up, catch, two-hand, smooth up through the form shot. Just like this, bounce it up, catch one hand, quick two-hand form into the shot. So if we can get a lot of reps like that, you're gonna get used to that smooth transition as the ball comes out of your hand, and you won't be messing with the guide hand. All right, so the next drill I really like is free throws, and you can do free throws a few different modified ways. So you can do your kind of classic free throw, where you come to the line, you just do your normal routine. And again, free throws are great to work on mechanics because you can kind of isolate what you're trying to work on, right? If I'm working on free throws and I take away all the other aspects of whatever drills I'd normally be doing, I can really focus on letting my guide hand fall off the ball at the correct time. So regular free throws are great. It's an awesome way to do it. It's an awesome way to get warm, awesome way to work on the guide hand. But there's a couple other kinds that I like as well. I also like 180 free throws, where you're gonna stand with your back facing towards the basket, and then you're going to pivot to the center of the line to shoot your free throw. Again, this is great because now we're adding an extra element, making your brain think a little bit, so I'm really having to focus on keeping my guide hand off of the ball. So with 180 free throws, you can do two options. You can do a pivot 180 free throw, just like this, where I'm pivoting on a foot, and you can go either direction, so you can go on the other side of the key and do the same thing, or you can do a 180 hop, where you're catching the ball and then hopping into a 180 free throw 15-foot jumper. Again, these are great because it focuses to make sure that your guide hand's just doing its job and nothing more. All right, if this video helped you out, go ahead and hit that like button, and then head below that to the comment section and let me know what you want to see next. This is a channel for the people, by the people, and I run pretty much everything off a request, so leave it in the comment section down below and hopefully we get to it. And if you're new to shot mechanics, you're gonna wanna do two things. Number one, click that subscription button below, because we put out a ton of good videos every week and they're all gonna get you better, I guarantee it. The second thing you're gonna wanna do is click this button up here, or the link in the description, get a free copy of my #1 scoring workout. This is a scoring workout that I use with pretty much all my players, and it's gonna probably increase your scoring average the very first time you use it. That's how powerful it is. And because we use circuit training, it's different than anything you've probably ever done before. So click that, and it's free. Again, I'm Coach Colin Costello with Shot Mechanics Basketball. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash on.